Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am working on day 25 of Creep on June. So, hey, I'm only 5 days behind, and now I'll actually catch up because after the 30th, which was yesterday, there are no more days. This is a trifold tag, and I don't know that I want to actually do it as a trifold tag. I have been watching Bella Boo Creations, and she does some absolutely stunning things with trifold tags. And I could do something like that, but rather than copying her, let's see what we can come up with that is either a trifold tag or something a little different with it. And obviously I can cut really straight. There's a small amount of sarcasm in that. You can tell by the white space around that there's sarcasm in that. The reason I'm using this image is the poem for today. It says, "Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over a many quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore." So I could use him pondering weak and weary. He looks rather weak and weary, doesn't he? Or I could use, so this is the other one that I could use, volume of forgotten lore, so a library. So could use both of them. Definitely could use both of these. And I'm on my final signature. I spent hours yesterday. So I thought I was making a 3-signature journal. At some point in time, I thought I was making a 3-signature journal. So I was being really careful to put the right amount of like days in each signature and then move on to the next signature. And I pulled out signature 3. And why are there still 2 signatures? So I spent all day yesterday moving things and tearing things apart where they didn't work, because not everything worked where I put it. So if I do this as a trifold, I use one of the little pages that is in the kit, in the ephemera, and printed it 2 to a page, and I think it's too big. It's really blurry. I think it would have been better if I had gone smaller. So I might wind up covering that rather than using it, or something. So one idea would be to fold all the little bits. That is definitely a solid idea. And then use one as kind of like a pocket. Put it in your journal, in your signature like so, and then fold it over like so. That would be one idea. That would be pretty simple. Gives you an extra page in your journal. I could do that and cut the top part off so it's just a page, and actually not cut the top part off on the 2 parts that would be a pocket, but go like so. and like so, and like so. Should actually cut that all the way down. And then fold it over and over like so. And then come in with my ruler like so. I'm probably off frame, and I'm sorry about that. And cut off the top of the remaining bit. Apparently I'm committed to doing it this way. So then what will happen is it would go around like so, be sewn in as a signature in here. And because I'm going to sew it in as a signature, I'm going to trim off a small bit on the fold side so that it doesn't bind with the, if this comes into the signature too much, when you bind it in, it won't open and close properly. So I want to take just a little bit of this side off. So now it's, you can see that it's, perhaps you can see, it's a little bit shorter than this here. So that when it's in the fold, it gives you a little bit more room. It's not significantly shorter, but it's enough that it's not going to constrict. And I might trim this back just a little because it shows in the pocket. Small things. You don't have to do this. Oh, that's just, okay, that's more satisfying. Put some glue on, fold that over, and here. I like to do, if I'm doing a pocket, I like to put a bit of paper at the top of the pocket to help reinforce and make the pocket stronger when you're sliding things in and out. And then I'm going to put a thumb notch in there. Like so. And I could ink, but I don't know if I will. The other thing that you can do if you're using something like this, if you glue it down flat, you're going to lose a small bit around these two edges. You want around this edge because you don't need to put glue here. The fold will act as the extent of the pocket. So you could put a little gusset here and here if you wanted to give yourself a little bit bigger pocket, but I'm not going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue along the bottom, like so, and along the outer edge, and not along the edge where the fold is, like so, and just glue that shut, like so. Now that will go about like so into there and becomes almost like a little page in and of itself. So I can put this on my pocket flap thing on either side, and I can put the ephemera on either side. So I think what I'll do is I'll put him on the outside. Oh, again, I'm going to turn this into a little baby pocket. So let me dig through my little remainder without you having to be painfully watching me do that. Ignore the fact that there's something on the back side. And then I will do my little scrunchy thing and ink this. To give it a little bit more distressed look. Like so. You don't have to do that. I just think it's fun. Like so. I'm also going to want to put something as backing paper on that little bit of ephemera so it's not so flimsy, so it can go in and out of the pocket almost like it's a tag. In fact, we can treat it like a tag. I guess I didn't need like pattern paper for this. I could have just used white paper. That would have been smart. And now I have to fussy cut around it again. And so for this, I'm going to glue along the inside of that little pokey out bit, the pokey out bit, a little bit, because that's not going to work for the pocket anyway, and then along the bottom. Oh, and let's put a little notch in the top before we glue that down. Try to do it without getting all the glue off, which I didn't. Now I have to put glue back on there. To center that. And that does still fit. Perfect, perfect. I buy these pads at Dollarama. They're $4 for a pad. There are 60 sheets in the pad. There are 3 different weights and 3 different colors. So you have white, craft cardstock, and black. And I love these pads. Stick the cardstock in first. Go punch. And make sure it punches, which it didn't. Oh, come on. Like so. And then glue it on. Because I do want, like, it will fit within, like so. And apparently somebody is crooked, and I'm not sure which. Definitely the tag is crooked. I think that should be okay. That's better. Much better. I am just going to use my Bearly Arts. Like so. And then line that up. Bit like so. Still crooked. And like so. It's not 100% perfect. But I think that works. And it fits just. So over the page, that would then look like so. Which isn't too bad. And then this one can come on the inside, like so. And I got from Temu a huge roll. And I think that this color will go beautifully with that other, like with the tag. Yeah, I like that. Really like that. And then I could use this gauzy stuff. Like so. And put a couple of stamens on there. And not a flower, because I didn't think of it in advance. If I was going to do a flower, I would have wanted to do it before I glued the pocket shut, so that the back legs of the brad or the eyelet, whichever, or rivet, whichever one I used, was actually inside the pocket. But it doesn't really matter. I do need to use more of the flowers again, so that I can keep some kind of cohesion and consistency going throughout the journal. It's one of the reasons I'm adding the stamens. Make sure that's, no, that needs to be further down. Or like so. And I have to make sure that these don't come out this way, because otherwise they will hit the pocket or the page when it turns, and I don't want that. And glue on this stuff. If you use this stuff, if you're looking for it, I don't know, I haven't looked on Amazon for it. On Temu, it's called, I think it's called Korean Jacquard, and it's, in some it's sold as a paper, but I think it's a fabric. It has more of a, like, it's woven, and it's very curious stuff, like very, very curious stuff. It's very hard to adhere down with glue to begin with. I find with the Bearly Arts, if I put it at all the larger junctions, stick it on and then just kind of be patient with it and hope that it sort of sticks. It's a bit like the stamens. You stick them down and you kind of like, please stay. Wonder if I should have put, no, yeah. I don't think it matters if I put the stamens on after that jacquard stuff. Although I probably should have. I'm not that worried about the stamens. They look like they're going to all fall off because at this point in time they will, but the paper will hold it on. Or the glue on the paper will hold them on. Put lots of glue on, or, you know, with Bearly Arts, it's not lots of glue, it's just generous. Make sure it's more or less even, kind of move the stamens where I want them a little. Squish them so that they stay. These things will add a little bit of depth to your pocket or your page because they're not flat, but it's not a heck of a lot of depth. And they're fun. They're so much fun. They're interactive. So that would then go in like so. And when I go to sew my signature in, I'll figure whether I want that in the center of this page behind it or move it down towards the bottom like so, which I might do. Like I might leave it more at the bottom of that page. And I am going to add a bit of I think regular cheesecloth, also known as the open weave stuff. So I put a lot of a lot of glue on the page itself, and then kind of pat the cheesecloth into position like so. It might seem like a lot of glue, but the glue dries clear, so it doesn't really matter. And if you have extra bits that you're not that happy with, you can just come in with your scissors and trim them off with this lightweight one. And you can fold it back in on itself really easily as well. You need to be a little bit careful with this one because the glue gets all over your fingers. I'm trimming that back a little bit, mostly because I want his face to show, and if I left that, he would be headless, which is a different story. Like so. And then we need a label. Like, did I put my labels away? And I'm holding on to the bin. Did I put my labels away? They're in your hand. Could use Tracy labels. These are my own. I create them with stamping. Can use whatever. These are Tracy labels. I like that one better. Oh, hey, bonus. It's a sticker. I have much greater success getting the label off the backing paper when I'm not trying to film. Oh. I almost always, even if I'm using a sticker, almost always use glue. You don't have to. And I am going to wrap that around the back, like so. Now the other thing I could do, oh, let's just pretend that really shows that that label is, or that tag is not straight. Embrace the imperfection. That's a very difficult thing for me to do. Yeah. Yeah, I like that way better. Even though that's not straight, and it's gonna drive me nuts. In the page, it will look like so. And I like that much better. That looks much more complete. So the other thing that you can do, you can leave this back completely blank, or you could come in with a little bit of paper, like so. And just glue a little bit of paper on the back so that when you turn the tag over, it's not as blank. The advantage to leaving it is that you then have completely, like that's completely writing space, but it's up to you. So kind of a quickish make. None of them turn out to be quick. And so that's what it would look like. Once Upon a Midnight Dreary. And then I will need to create a tag to go in here. Hopefully doing a better job of it than this tag. So next one will be day 26. That's a pocket, so lots of space to do this. I'll do a flip through of everything I've created at the end. And let me know if you would like me to do, to sew in the signatures and film doing that. I know some people don't want to see that. Some people do. I found I watched a lot of videos on how to sew in a signature when I was first starting. I'm going to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, which is a bit different. So let me know if you'd like to see me do that. And in the meantime, have a lovely crafty day. Bye.